Hello everyone, my name is Stepan and I'm excited to welcome you to my channel. Today I will show you how to create a digital log using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. I'm confident that you will find this tutorial both informative and helpful. If you do, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more exciting content. So, let's get started. Before we start implementing our widget, we need to have some plan. So let's read basic design. First, we will draw our number element and there will be 7 lines. Each line of our number will represent a div element. And we will have 6 the same components. 2 for minutes, 2 for hours, and 2 for seconds. To make our widget more interactive, we will create an array that holds all the numbers. The index of each element will correspond to a number. Right now, let's describe the first number, which is 0. So we will have such fields as top, middle, bottom, etc. We will use numbers 1 or 0 to adjust the opacity of each element. If field is set to 1, it will be fully visible, but if it's set to 0, it will be hidden. Every side in number 0 is 1 except middle. Here we have 1, 0, 1, 1. It means that right now the middle is hidden, so let's just delete it. This is number 0. If you want to create a number 2, we will delete top left and bottom right. It will be number 2, and so on. Once we have our array in place, we will retrieve the current time by using the new date function. This will give us timestamp that we can use to generate the widget's elements. The final step, we will use our array with objects to transform the current time into numbers. So let's try to implement the widget. Now we need to move on to the next step, which is implementation. In our HTML we will have only one root component. And we'll create the rest of components using JavaScript. So let's dive into JavaScript. I have already prepared 2 objects for us to use, just to save our time. The first object describes all numbers from 0 to 9. Each field in this object represents a direction: top, top left, top right, middle, bottom left, bottom right, and bottom. And value means opacity value. So 1 means fully visible, 0 means fully hidden, and so on. The second object describes all directions from previous object: top, top left, top right, middle, bottom left, bottom right, bottom. We'll only need this object once, and I will explain it briefly a bit later. Next, let's create our class for the widget. Our widget will have 3 methods. So let's describe this logic. The first one is create, where we will create all our elements. The next one is update, which will run every second, just to update our UI. And get roles. We have opportunity to weekly receive our roles. We will have seconds, minutes, and hours. Let's start by creating our UI elements for the widget. We'll begin by describing our create message. So let's add some wrapper. Let it be const wrap document create element. Let it be div. To have opportunity to style it, we need to add some last name. Let's add some last name. Let it be just wrap. And we need to create our rows. We have a total of 6 rows. So we will use a loop to add these 6 elements. This means 2 rows for seconds, 2 for minutes, and 2 for hours. So also let's change this magic number to some const. Let it be rows length. And let's change it. So now it looks better. Now we need to add our rows. So let's create variable. Let it be row document create element. Let it be div. And let's add some last name. Will be row to have opportunity to style it. And because of every row has 7 numbers, 7 directions like top, top left, top right, middle, etc., we need to have one more loop. So let's create one more loop. And here 7 it's number of our directions. Here we have all our directions. So let's create maybe one more variable just to avoid using numbers. And now let's create all our directions, all sides, doesn't matter. So every side it will be span element. And also we need to style it. Let's add some last name. And now we need to use our directions object where we have top, top left, top right, etc. So every this name it will be separate last name. So every directions, every HTML element will have one of these fields like top, top left, top right. So here we have directions and elements. And at the end we need to add our span elements into row and span. And at the end we need to add everything what we created to our wrapper. So we created all our widget elements and it's time to add all these elements into our HTML. Previously we created a root element, so we use this element. And the first step is to get this element. Get element by ID. Here we have root, and we need to append all our wrap. Here I see some mistake. Instead of div we have row, and also we need to run our create message. So now we can check our HTML if we edit all our elements. Body, root, our wrap, all our 6 rows, and every row has top, top left, top right, middle, bottom left, bottom right, bottom. So all our directions. Before we implement our update function, let's add some styles to all our elements to visualize the result. So let's open CSS and let's make our background dark to improve the contrast of our widget. Background black. Next, let's add display flags to our wrapper element to ensure that all our elements are arranged in a row. To position our directions depending on each row, we will give each row a position relative property. And let's add some height and width properties. Plus we can add some margin. Each direction will have a position absolute property and white background color. So let's add all our directions. Top, middle, bottom, top left, top right, and bottom left plus bottom right. So here we will have position absolute plus background color white. Now let's describe each direction. Top, middle and bottom directions will have the same styles, except for the top property, which will be different for each direction. So let's add styles for top, middle and bottom. Let's add some left property, width and height. Okay, now we have top, middle and bottom properties, but because of we have the same top position, we see only one line per row. So let's add the top property, top 20, middle will be top 120 and bottom 200. Nice. We have top, middle and bottom. Now we need to describe top left, top right, bottom left and bottom right. All these properties will have the same width and height properties, but different top and left properties. So let's describe top and right. So here we will have the same top property, but different left properties. Top left, let it be 20, left 20 pixels, and top right, let it be 105. Left. Let's check it. Here we have mistake. And we see that we have top left and top right. This one is bottom left and bottom right. So let's describe these two directions. We will have the same top property and different left properties. Bottom left will be the same as top left, so let's add here, and bottom right will have the same property as top right. Nice. So each side, such as top left, top right, bottom left, top middle, and bottom, if I missed it, now have all styles. And now it looks better. So now we can start writing our update function. Time to implement the final part. So let's try to implement our update function. First of all, we need to receive our date, new date, and create empty array. Let it be time array. This array represents our row with minutes, seconds, and hours. First of all, we need to push our hours. Right now we receive like one element, for example 10, but per design we need to have two elements, 1 and 0. So let's transform it to string and use spread operator. And one more is if we have one element like 1, for example, we need to transform it to 0 and 1 per design. So I'm going to add start function. The first argument is number, it's the length of our element, and the second argument can be time to implement the final part. So let's try to implement our update function. First of all, we need to receive our date, new date, and we need to have some array. Now case it's empty array represents all these numbers. And first of all, we need to push our hours. Get hours. Here we have, for example, 10, but per design we have two elements. We need to transform it to 1 and 0. So let's transform it to string and use spread operator, and here we need to use our date. One thing is if we have only one element like 1, we need to transform it to elements as well. So we need to have 0 and 1. To do it, we need to use pet start function. The first argument is the length, and the second one is 0. It's what we want to put before our number. Let's add the same but for minutes and seconds. So our time array is ready, and we need to update all our sites. First of all, we need to find every column. I'll less than, probably we need to find row. We need to implement our get rows function. Document get elements by last name. Here we have our row. We can use get rows in our update function, but probably it will be better to add this function into variable, because in this case we will use we will go to DOM only one time. Here we will add this row, this get rows. Let's add rows, and because we use here this, we need to bind our function. This create, bind this, and let's do the same but for update. So now we have here these rows, and we can use it here. These rows length I++. So right now we find only this column, but we need also to find every directions, every sides. I mean top, middle, bottom, etc. So we need to have one more loop. It will be for of child of. Then we need to have this rows I, and we can use children. Here we need to receive our class name, be child plus list. 0 class list returns array, but we need to have only one, the first class, which is top, middle, top left, etc. And let's update our opacity. Style opacity will be time map, which we created previously. So here, for example, to receive 0, we need to hide only middle. And for example, the top line should be visible, it should be line, and etc. Time map, time I, and class name, which is top, right, top right, top left, etc. And probably we need to run our function. set interval, this update, and 1 second. And it should work. Here it works. Let's maybe add some dots between hours and minutes seconds. We need to add it here. If I is 1 or I is 3. Right now 1 is 3 and probably this number as well are magic numbers, but you can create some variables for each. 1 means after 7 right now, and 3 after 2. It's like after minutes. We need to create span element. Let's maybe copy this one. Span plus list edge dot, and probably we need to add with this element, but and probably we need to add power up. So let's maybe add some styles for each, because it's like not visible right now. Dot color white, display flex. Right now you can see that it was added. Justify content center, align items center, font size it will be 75 right now, and margin right will be 20 right now. Maybe it from another side. Yes, and it looks better. And probably we can add some maybe fancy mirror effect for this digital logo. Let's add it to our wrap element. We'll use both reflect to implement it. Below, some size, linear, and to bottom. The first one is black, and the second one is GB 0, 0, 0, and with some opacity. And probably that's all. So our widget is ready. And yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. So see you in the next time.